Hi, I'm Councilman Ed Shadid, and welcome to City Hall. I have with us today Rhonda Thomas, who's the Executive Director of the Single Parent Support Network. And we want to talk today about a very important topic, and that's single parenting. Rhonda Thomas, you have a unique organization which addresses, I don't think people really realize how common single parenting is. We think of it as kind of an anomaly when really a third of all children in the state of Oklahoma are raised by single parents.
That is correct. I think for most people really don't understand the scope of single parenting. We have single moms and single dads. We also have single grandparents. We have adoptive parents or foster parents who are raising children on their own. We have those who've chosen surrogacy, rape survivors. We've got parents whose husbands are TDY. They've gone overseas serving in the military and they're here doing it solo. Another unique thing that we found in single parenting is the fact that sometimes we have a spouse who has an extended illness and may be bedridden or they may be in the hospital, and a parent is trying to do it solo raising their kids.
So it's really a diverse group of circumstances that you address.
Absolutely. We cover them all.
What types of programs does your organization involve itself in?
Okay, so we have a variety of programs right now, both for men and for women, mostly women. Of course, we realize that statistic is a lot bigger than most. And so for the women, we have the annual Queen for a Day event, which is a day of education, inspiration, and pampering. You got to include that as well. And we do have one coming up here on May 16th for our military queens.
Right.
And then we are in the process of pulling together an actual King for a Day. And it's just a way to draw in single parents who are usually isolated. Our main program, what I call the bread and butter of what we do, is our Restart program. And that helps parents basically start over in this whole process. It covers the A to Z of single parenting. We usually meet on a weekly basis and we have chapters across the city.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the challenges that maybe children face and maybe in some of the programs and efforts you're working on with schools?
Absolutely. So what we found with the average child that's being raised in a home with a single parent is that if we don't have a parent that is thriving, because there are 3 phases that single parents go through, then it's really difficult for that child to also thrive. And so we found that the average single parent start off in a scenario where they're drowning. That's phase 1. No parent actually plans to be in that situation.
Right.
Sometimes things just happen. And so our biggest challenge is making sure that the single parent does not go down along with their kids.
Right.
And then the other phase is basically that emerging phase. So single parents are beginning to get some of the nuggets that they need to successfully raise their children, and they're emerging out of that drowning phase. And then the third phase is basically the thriving phase where, financially there's stability in the home, emotionally there's stability in the home, and there are more co-parenting efforts between the parents as well in terms of successfully raising the kids. But we've found that kids that continue in that state or that phase of drowning basically end up in the statistics that we see in our prisons, the negative statistics for kids that are committing crime. And so our goal is to turn that around.
So there's a correlation then between the outcome for children and the well-being of the parent.
Absolutely, absolutely. An unhealthy parent is going to raise pretty much most of the time unhealthy kids.
What kind of efforts do you think can be done with the schools and maybe your organization's efforts in the schools?
Sure. So right now we are working with one public school in Putnam City. We're starting off as a beta site to work with that school. They've got several programs right now after school working with specific kids. And then we're going to go in and work with the parents of these kids. So our approach now is going to be a wraparound approach where they would learn not just parenting skills, but also, how to work with their kids, how to deal with their anger, personal anger, and looking for the anger in their kids that they may be dealing with, how to co-parent, developing those skills and bringing in the other partner or spouse that may be involved in raising the kids, how to deal with their finances. We just basically cover all of the aspects of single parenting, A to Z,
Right.
for that parent,
Excellent.
so that they can successfully raise their children.
You know, another correlation that's been shown is that in divorce, the less conflict there is between the divorcing parents, the better the outcome, regardless of the better the outcome for the child. Can you talk for a minute about that situation?
Absolutely. We see parents every day that come in, and there's a level of anger that is I don't know, it's unexplainable.
Right.
And there's this taking sides, putting kids in the middle where they have to take sides, pick a parent. Is the most difficult and challenging thing for a child to even reconcile. And so we've seen the effects of those negatives, and we've also seen the effects of positive co-parenting, and parents working together to reduce that conflict and create an environment where that child can grow up in a healthy environment.
Great.
So,
If our listeners wanted to get involved, or they wanted to get involved with your organization or contribute, how would they do that? How would they find you?
the quickest way is to go online, supportforsingleparents.org, supportforsingleparents.org, and that's all spelled out, and all the details are on our website.
Great. Anything else that you think the listeners should know about single parenting, both in Oklahoma City and in the state of Oklahoma?
Yeah. So what we are working on right now is, again, what I call a wraparound approach. Everything we do is about the family. It's not just about the child or just about the parent. It's about the family and the elements that are going to be required to, have a successful home. And so, just so you know, I know with House Bill 2249, it now requires that parents do those divorce classes, which we're also offering. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not, but
Right.
we're also offering that. But we're offering that more so not just as a class, but as a program, it wrapped around in our program, so that parents can come and do those things that are required to, suffice the House bill. But also, we want to draw them into co-parenting skills continually, so that they're as successful with this process.
Rhonda, can you talk for a second about single fathers? I'm one myself. I just want to, I think we think, and probably the majority are women, probably the super majority, but there are certainly single fathers out there. And can you talk about maybe the particular challenges that they may face?
We are seeing more and more single dads. I think we get on a weekly basis an average of 2 to 3 that may be calling our office. So that definitely is a growing number. And I think the challenges for that are a little bit more unique than women, certainly because it's not a natural fit. It's not a natural thing that we see. Even in their workplace, it's not natural, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So the average dad who has a sick child asking for some time off,
Right.
is not a normal thing for your employer. If that makes sense.
Right.
And so culturally, we have to begin to shift this dialogue so that we can include our dads, our single dads, and some of the challenges that they're facing. We've seen single dads on the brink of suicide, literally. So emotionally, it's a little bit different as well. And we've also found that dads, it's not easy for them to congregate and converse or deal with support, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So the challenges become a little bit more different. They're more one-on-one. A single dad mentoring a single dad is what we're seeing is more successful in
Right.
terms of helping some of those issues.
So for men that may find themselves isolated as single fathers, and women as well, is there a way that you can get them in touch with each other? Is there a way that if somebody felt isolated, they might be able to reach out to you and be put in contact with others who've been there or who might have ideas of how to deal with a particular problem?
Absolutely. So right now we have chapters in Mustang, Oklahoma, in Midwest City, and in North Oklahoma City, and looking at setting one up on the south side so that you can plug in. And we meet on a weekly basis for support. We have support groups and mentorship groups that meet every week. So you can tie in there by going to supportforsingleparents.org and checking it out on our events page. You can plug into that. And then we just recruited a gentleman that's working with us full time that is beginning to help us expand the dad side of the program.
Great.
So,
Can you give the phone number one more time and the contact information for
okay.
those?
So you can call us at 405-917-1817, or you can go to our website, www.supportforsingleparents.org.
Great. Rhonda, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.